When we found out that we were pregnant with Josie, something was off.
6 weeks before Josie was due, we really didn't know what was going to happen because with her condition, not only was the baby potentially in jeopardy, but Laura was also in jeopardy as well.
If I had gone into labor naturally, it could have been fatal for both of us. The night that she was born, she started showing some symptoms of respiratory distress. She ended up being in the NICU for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
It was hard and it was sad because the way it's supposed to go, you go to the hospital, you have your baby, and then you go home. So they told us it was central apnea due to prematurity and that she would grow out of it.
Even taking a baby home with some medical equipment, I think from the hospital we maybe received 2 hours of training with an apnea monitor, a pulse ox,
And
an oxygen tank.
We had her home, she had this equipment, and her physical well-being just went downhill very quickly. We ended up bringing her back to the hospital to get assessed, and her CO2 level was in triple digits. It was over 100. She was kind of a medical mystery. None of the doctors were able to pinpoint what was going wrong. One of the reasons why her diagnosis was so hard to get a handle on is because her specific diagnosis, it's called CCHS, Congenital Central Hypoventilation Syndrome, and currently in the world there are only 1,200 people with this condition.
Ever diagnosed.
The next course of action in terms of treatment is that she would need a tracheostomy. She also had a G-tube placed for feeding. To hear those words and to envision what your child's the rest of their life is going to look like, it's absolutely devastating.
Right.
If you have a child that is medically complex but not sick, the hospital is not the most ideal environment for them to be in. When you find out that your child is medically complex, it's almost like you get pushed into a pool and you don't know how to swim.
Absolutely.
Almost Home Kids is the life raft in a way, the floaties that help make those waters much less scary, much more navigable.
We looked at other facilities and it just didn't have that same level of care as Almost Home Kids. The hospital is meant to treat kids, but Almost Home Kids is really meant to teach you how to care for your kids. It's funny, you hear that kids don't come with instructions. However, kids with complex medical needs actually do come with instructions.
They do, but...
And at Almost Home Kids, they teach you to be comfortable with those instructions.
We had to go through a lot of training to be able to learn how to care for her. If they know that there are siblings in the home, they will incorporate as much as they can to teach the sibling how to interact safely. Some of the first major interactions with our son and his sister were in the kitchen at Almost Home Kids or in the living room. I don't really know how to describe how grateful we are that for that window of time, we were able to have some of those normal family experiences. Having a newborn, an infant that was able to sit in a high chair, watch TV, wear their own clothes. I mean, again, these seem like silly things, but these things would not have happened had we been forced to keep her in the hospital. Almost Home Kids made us feel like we could be the kind of parents that could show her nothing's gonna hold you back.
We don't have the fear that we may have had if we didn't have the appropriate training, that she could go and run and be on her own, that she can climb and jump off stuff. She's doing that now too.
It feels like a home.
Yeah.
And it's your child's home until you can bring them to your own home.
The need is there.
The need is there.
Yeah.
The parents need Almost Home Kids. The kids need Almost Home Kids. The medical community needs Almost Home Kids. And we can speak from personal experience of how wonderful Almost Home Kids is.